ass island.
Today's topic, islands versus peninsulas. Which team are you on? Leave your comments below.
We know which team majority is on. Everyone wants a kitchen island. Everyone wants an island.
You can have a baby kitchen and still want an island.
You still want an island. But there's problems with that. And
is it because of the name? Like, is it a name thing? Like,
no,
island.
No.
It's like tropical?
No. I think it's all in like the idea. It's the idea of it. It's like, ooh, look at my big kitchen island. Like it says you got a dope kitchen. Like, I think that's the perception. It's like, listen. If I could have an island in my baby ass kitchen, I would have an island. But I know better. So that is what we are talking about today.
This is where a lot of people struggle with is I don't think they utilize or understand how much space an island requires.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be able to traverse around an island comfortably. And I'm talking a minimum of like 4 feet. Like 4 feet comfortably. If there's like one person working in the kitchen. If you've got 2 people working in the kitchen, you want them 48 inches plus.
Yeah.
You have stoves down, dishwashers down,
yeah,
cabinetry opening. People don't take this into consideration. And if they do an island, it's gonna be very just conflicting with the space. That's my opinion.
Well, yeah, a lot of times people like to put a sink or stove on their island. So if you have one person working on the island, then someone else has to be able to walk by and access cabinets or open a refrigerator or do whatever. And I think everyone wants an island. Most people do not have the space, and they compromise by taking away like space in between. And it's the bad choice. Don't do it. Do not do it. I think another thing people try and get away with is like putting an itty bitty island in there to say they have I want an island. People just get so caught up on this idea of it that they're willing to compromise and go smaller, but it just looks silly.
Yep.
It looks silly. So we're gonna talk about some islands today. Listen,
we got some photos.
If you have the space, by all means, please. Like I just said, if I had the space, I would have an island too, over a peninsula. But
I think every house we've rehabbed or remodeled, we've gone in and measured for an island, and we're just like, it won't work.
No,
it doesn't work.
No, I'm so sad that I have yet to do an island.
And we've had some decent sized kitchens, and they still just don't work.
Yeah,
like big kitchens, they're just like, the island would be so like small and useless. It's pointless to do it.
Yeah. So we're gonna show you some pictures of some islands and kind of go over them. Now this first one's dope.
I mean, you got a big enough kitchen. You could just tell by the vaulted ceiling.
Yeah.
it's a big ass house.
Yeah, you got 4 people able to sit at this island. You have a sink on the other side that you can barely see because there's so much more counter space where the people are sitting.
Are there 2 sinks?
Is it 2?
One there and one there.
Oh yeah, look at that.
So you have two sinks and a pot filler.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's an expensive kitchen.
You can tell by some of the details how expensive it is.
Yeah.
But that's something else to point on is like when people want to go smaller, you can't have people sitting there if they're getting splashed by the water or getting splashed by the oil from your stove if your stove is there. If you go smaller, then you just don't have the space for people to sit there comfortably. And let's touch on that. It's like you want people to be able to sit here comfortably. We just went into a rehab in the last year, and they just spent so much money.
I can post that picture though.
You have the picture.
MLS.
Rehabbing this house, and they didn't have an overhang, so they had this that island was big
island with nowhere to sit at.
Yeah,
which was like pointless because their dining area was about 20 feet off to the side.
Yeah, they had a formal dining.
Yeah, so entertaining around this kitchen main like room was going to be impossible. You could stand there, right, and talk, but there's nowhere to really sit, converse, eat a fast breakfast. it was kind of a missed opportunity in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then they have these weird cabinets that opened up on that side. I just didn't like it.
No, and they also had like a little, try to put like a little eat-in kitchen area in the corner, like a little table. It was a big misstep. They had this huge countertop, similar to this, huge island, and all they needed was an overhang for people to sit at.
Right. Next one.
This one's similar, not as a grand kitchen, but actually this is more my style, and like another
really good
green cabinetry.
You can tell that kitchen's really large based on the uppers going really high.
Yes.
So, I mean, we can't see the ceiling of that kitchen, but that's probably a 12-foot tall ceiling. Looks clean. Good size. You can see it has ample space to traverse on a non-working side. When I say non-working, I mean a side that doesn't have an appliance. Just enough space to like move around the island.
Yeah, what do you think that is? 3 feet?
No, it's
all
like
right here.
4.
You think it's 4?
Wow, 4.
But this one has a sink in it too, but I mean, it's just a picture, so it's hard to tell how much space, but it looks like there's plenty of space behind the sink for people to sit, and you could have a place setting there and someone can sit up there and eat.
Really good use of space too, because it has a pot filler, but it also has a sink directly behind the stove. So when you're preparing foods like vegetables or meats, you can just turn around and boom, they're going right onto the stove or a pot. That's a good use of space, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Next one.
Here's another one with a waterfall countertop, which we like.
Yeah. Like how they end on each side, essentially it's called a waterfall because the stone or whatever material you're using just tapers off the edge and water falls into the tile or to the wood floor. Looks really good. I also like how they finished the island with some type of wood.
Me too.
It just adds a different layer of depth to it. Because I mean, you can get tired of having the same color. In most cases, they've finished it off with a wood panel that's painted the same color as a cabinetry. That's a cheaper option, but this is definitely a nice option.
I've seen more so recently people using like the wood paneling, like the slats,
right?
Which looks really cool. It just adds an interesting element to the design, right? And in this case, it looks like it's the same wood that's on their hood, and it kind of ties those two things together. It just is a really clean look.
Yeah.
The island looks big.
Pendant lights, accommodates 4 people. Definitely looks like ample space to traverse around. So good space of an island. I mean, and we don't know what size houses these are in, but more than likely, they've got the right size kitchen to accommodate an island.
Yeah.
Next photo.
Now we are going to peninsulas. Do not sleep on these. I know, even in going from that picture to this picture, to me, you get a feeling about each kitchen, and the island to me feels richer, nicer.
With the peninsula?
No, the one with the island.
Oh, yeah.
The one with the island. And then we get here, and okay, maybe it doesn't feel as luxe. Maybe that's the word. It doesn't feel as high end.
But it functions.
Look, you got 3.
Function game.
You got 3 people being able to sit here, and it looks like plenty of space inside the kitchen area.
Correct. You've added counter space, so we can't see the entire kitchen, but let's just say the opening to gain access to the kitchen is about 42 to 48 inches. Enough space to get appliances in and out and accommodate 2 people walking side by side. But we have ample countertop space and we have ample cabinetry space, because just on the other side of the peninsula, I'm sure you have a bunch of lowers. You probably have a dishwasher. I don't know if that's a dishwasher that I can see to the right. Oh, it looks like maybe a dishwasher to the right of the sink, which means all of the lowers are gonna allow you for ample storage. And there must be ample storage because in the corner, they've added floating shelves. So they must say, hey, we have enough storage. We don't need an additional upper up here. Let's just put some floating shelves and add a different layer of composition to the kitchen.
Yeah, it's all decorative. It doesn't look like anything on there is, for the kitchen. But no. This is just something to keep in mind. Is like
Looks
definitely
like Kingsdale.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna say. We have some pictures that we can show of stuff that we've
Yeah.
done because we always do a peninsula,
Yeah.
never an island.
Yep.
Sad. But here's another example. The island's coming off the other direction. I mean, the peninsula is coming off the other direction, and still 3 seats. It's big enough. But again, if like let's just imagine an island in the space, you wouldn't be able to have an island that size because you have to be able to walk around on either side.
Right. So your island's going to be 3 feet, 4 feet max, and you have to push the remainder of the kitchen back further because you have to walk around the island.
Yeah.
So you would definitely be underutilizing the size and space of your kitchen by forcing an island when it can't belong. This is a little unique. I rarely see a bull-nosed edge
I know.
corner.
Rounded corner.
But that could have been for personal preference for maybe kids, right? You don't want a pointed edge. Personally, I've never encountered a problem with having a pointed edge. So that's not my preference. They also didn't do a waterfall edge, which still looks good. They have a finished wood panel, which matches the cabinetry. And code specifies you need a plug in the side of a peninsula. And you also need electrical on an island. So be mindful of that. If you're gonna add an island or a peninsula, you need to have electrical at least somewhere. In Kingsdale, which is one of the houses we just did, well not just did, a couple years back, we added power, but we didn't want to cut into the marble. So we had the electrician just terminate the electrical in the cabinetry, and if the homeowner wants to eventually add an outlet right there, they'll just cut it out themselves. But we didn't want to damage the marble. The marble looked really good. And at the end of the day, how many people utilize that outlet? I've never seen anyone utilize that outlet. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
I feel like I would. I feel like that's one of my biggest issues with our current house is that like there's just not like I want more outlets
On the
everywhere.
edge
No.
of a
In general.
peninsula?
In general.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you have
Yeah, you have
outlets
that one
everywhere,
there.
But what are you gonna plug in right there?
A mixer. If you're baking
On the
cakes.
edge of a peninsula.
I don't know. Something. A kid with an iPad. I'm not mad at it.
Next picture.
This one looks really clean. So I feel like I think it's just the style and the design of this one that even though it's not an island and it's peninsula, it still feels modern. It feels, a little more high end. I think it has to do with the waterfall.
I get guest home vibes for this. This would be like an ADU.
Yeah.
Or a baller back house on a property.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it's on the smaller scale.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it looks like it's intended for 1 to 2 people.
Yeah.
So you probably in a smaller apartment, condo, or home, but it's good utilization of space, especially if you can't accommodate a full-size dining table and chairs. A peninsula is a great alternative because one, the chairs just slide under the peninsula, so they can be pushed out of the way for additional space, and visually it just looks clean.
Let's talk how much of an overhang do we think is necessary, because I feel like this is something people debate on.
12 inches depending on what you're gonna do for it.
Yeah.
But it definitely needs to be, the larger the better, because I don't want my knees up against whatever cabinets there or finished wood is there.
Especially, I feel like I've had friends who have had this issue with their cabinets. They have put cabinets down here for extra storage, like shallow cabinets, not super deep. And then they chose handles. So then when your knees are there, your knees are hitting the handles because they're sticking out.
Yeah.
So because it was too late, right? It was already done. So I suggested maybe like leather pulls or, something smaller and softer, not so you don't have this big metal piece sticking out, poking you, or people jamming their knees against because they're not aware that it's there.
Right, I agree. The more space you can have an overhang, the better, in my opinion. Obviously, don't be excessive or you're like, oh, I want 2 feet, because now we're just wasting space.
Yeah.
You just need enough for, you know what? Look what I got. 12 inches. So if I were to slide all the way up to where my stomach is up against the table, 12 inches is
sufficient.
Is probably perfect. 14 is probably more than enough. So I'd say 14 is probably adequate while utilizing the space accordingly. So just my thoughts.
So ultimately, I mean, the point of this video is, you know, we know your heart is set on an island, and you may not always have the space to make that happen. And just know that you can make a peninsula look cool. You can make it look dope, high end. Listen, add a waterfall, add some kind of decorative wood paneling or something to, you know,
let us know in the comments below if you're a peninsula gang
what team,
or if you're an island gang.
Right.
I'm torn. I haven't had an island, so
I haven't had one either. I think it's just the idea.
yeah,
it's the idea.
But if
Like
you have
most
one,
people.
let us know how you like it.
Yeah.
Next picture.
That's it.
Oh,
That's all. That's all we got.
That's all we got for today. So I guess let us know your thoughts. If you guys found value in our videos, you know, feel free to subscribe or like them. It helps. I will see you on the next one.
Bye.